Whew. Sorry, guys, this is just a bit heavy. Oh, sorry, just a second. Oh, just gonna put this down here. Oh my goodness, that is heavy. I should have gone to the gym. Whew. Hello, Newday. It's great to be with you. My name's Katherine, and I'm from New Community Church in Sidcup. Oh my goodness. Wow. Hi, Sidcup. Nice to see you. Okay, hands up. Who forgot their pillow? Who forgot? Oh, so many of you. Oh my goodness. Can everyone just pray for those people? Just pray for them, please. Do start praying for them. You forgot your pillows. Oh, I'm so sorry. That is actually the worst. Top tip from me, though. Are you ready? Are you ready? This is the first piece of advice tonight. Get your towel, roll it up, wrap a jumper around it, makeshift pillow. There you go, guys. You're well, thank you. Thank you, front row. He's giving me a round of applause for that. Oh, you're a very fun crowd, aren't you? That's lovely. I'm sorry about the pillowless people. Hopefully your new day will just go up from here. That's wonderful. It's the first night of New Day. And there's a temptation for all of us to sort of sit on the back foot, isn't there? To sort of wait and see maybe what God might do, but later in the week. But that's not what God's like. We can come expectant this evening because you guess what? I'm going to let you in on a little secret. God is here with us. We've heard it in our worship already. God's presence is here with us. And he doesn't need a warm-up. He doesn't need to get ready. He's not like putting his coat on, putting his shoes on, like making his way to Newday. He's not stuck in traffic somewhere in Norfolk. No, God is here. And he's ready. And he's wanting to meet with us. The only question is, are we ready? Are we ready to seek him? Are we here with humble hearts, with faith, with genuine expectation that God even tonight is going to transform lives? That God even tonight is going to bring breakthrough? That God's going to perform miracles? That we'll maybe even see signs and wonders? The thing you're praying for at the moment, God might answer that prayer. The question that I feel like the Lord is asking us this evening is, are you seeking me? And so at the very start of this evening, very start of this message, I just think that's what we should do. Should we humbly come before the Lord together in prayer? If you'd like to pray with me, please do. Lord of the universe, you are sovereign, you rule and you reign, you're over all, and yet you are here with us. What? That's crazy. And God, we just humble ourselves before you. And we just invite your spirit here. And God, we say, do whatever you want. Don't let me get in the way. Don't let me be a distraction. Just do whatever you want, God. We are here for you. So, I made a pretty big life decision recently. Like it was a huge life decision. Yeah, and I thought, what better thing to do than to rock up, stand on a stage in front of, I don't know, like 9,000, maybe more teenagers, and ask for their opinion. Because I thought that's the best way to go about life decisions. You just ask 9,000 people, especially teenagers, opinions on that life advice. So, are you ready to give me some advice on my life? Great. Last week, I got rid of everything I own. I sold everything I have for what's inside that box. Does that sound like a good thing to do? It's a mix. It's a mix. It depends. It depends. She's very wise. If she's in your church, very blessed. She's a wise woman down there. It depends. Okay, well, it depends. So I guess you kind of want to see now what's inside that box, right? No, you can't be bothered. Only the front row can. No. You know what? No, let's actually just do this. So I'll just go to my notes. Do you actually want to see what's inside this box? Okay, all right. Let's have a little look what's inside this box. Ooh, I don't want to rip it. Oh, it's very valuable. Okay, right, okay. Gotta get us some stuff out of here. Okay. You know what, guys? There's only one thing I've got to do. I've just got to get in the box. We're going in. Whoop. Oh, it'd be so awkward if I forgot it. I can't see it. This would be really awkward. Oh, my goodness, there's so much paper in here. Oh, where is it? Oh, no. Oh, there it is. Great. Fantastic. So last week, I sold absolutely everything I have for this. Cameraman, can you zoom in? Is the camera on that? I sold absolutely everything I have for this. Do you think that was a good decision? I'm not really sure what you're saying. Do you think that was a good decision? No, I'm getting a resounding no. Okay, let me get out this box. Let me explain. All right. Oh, you're all thinking I'm crazy now, aren't you? Oh my goodness, I'm a little bit tired. So a lot of you have said no, but some of you are wise, like this lovely girl down there. Very, very wise. And you're like, well, no, I don't think it was a good life decision, but it depends. It depends what that actually is, because I'm not sure what it is. It depends what its value is. Then I would be able to know whether it was worth it or not, right? Like if this was the most precious thing ever, you'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense, right? And now, what about if I said to you, I'm giving you the opportunity. Yes, Newday. I am giving you all the opportunities tonight to give up absolutely everything you have in return for this. Some of you might be thinking, all I've got is a packet of crisps that I'm currently sat on. They're very squished. And actually, I don't even want to give you those for that. Others of you are thinking, yeah, you're not getting my phone, you're not getting my sleeping bag. I did remember my pillow, and you're definitely not getting that, right? I'm sure lots of you are like, I would absolutely not give up everything for that, and I think that you are crazy, Katherine. So I should probably come clean, shouldn't I? I'm sorry. I did not give up absolutely everything for this. I'm sorry. Oh, he knew it. Oh, resounding. Oh, no. Oh, boo. I got a boo. Oh, no. Teenagers are sad with me. False advertising. Yeah, you guys are used to that, aren't you? But there is a story that Jesus tells in the Bible that is just like that. That Jesus says, there is a treasure far greater than any treasure you've ever known. And to some people, it looks like this. It looks a little bit dumb. It looks a little bit crazy. But Jesus actually gives us the opportunity to give up everything for it. So if you've got a Bible with you, will you please open to Matthew 13, verse 44. Oh, the sound of Bibles opening. That is lovely. That is really nice. I hadn't expected that. That's wonderful. If you don't have a Bible with you, it will come up on the screen, but also I would recommend have a little linger around the Christian bookstore. Find the most Christian-looking adult you can see and ask them to buy you a Bible. I'm definitely sure they will, all right? Who's going to give that a go this week? There we go. A few hands going up without Bibles. There we go. Youth leaders, clock them. Matthew 13, verse 44. All right, and we're reading these verses. Are you guys ready? Focused? Guys, this is the word of the Lord. The Bible is living and active. This moment is powerful. It's not just me reading any old story, any old words. This is the word of the Lord. This is Jesus speaking. So let's be attentive. Let's be open. Let's be focused in this moment. Are you ready? Matthew 13, verse 44. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again. And then in his joy went and sold all he had and bought that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it. In these passages, Jesus is doing his thing. He is the master storyteller, and he's communicating something about the kingdom of heaven through these stories called parables. And these parables are interesting because they're quite similar and they're told back to back. So we have to read them together, and we also have to notice what's similar in them, but also what's different. What is Jesus trying to communicate to the listeners at the time, but also what is Jesus trying to say to us? What can we grasp about what the kingdom of heaven is like, and also what our response is through these stories? So in the first story, we're introduced to a man. And this man is walking about his day, and he's walking around a field, and what happens? He stumbles upon treasure. He's not expecting it. It's not what he went out to look for. And in a place where everyone else sees mud and sees grass, this man sees treasure. And what's his response? Oh, he's filled with joy. Wouldn't you be filled with joy if you just stumbled upon like loads of treasure? You'd be like, this is amazing. But the only way for him to get that treasure is to go away, to give up everything he has so he can buy the field that this treasure is in. He can have that field so he can have the treasure. But it's with joy that he does that. In the second story, who are we introduced to? Well, this time, we're introduced to a merchant. That's a bit of a weird word, isn't it? This is a pearl expert. If you want to know something about pearls, you need to know this guy. He is the master of pearls. He's got a fine collection of pearls, but he's looking for a certain pearl, a pearl of great value. He's not sure if it exists, actually. Who knows if it's out there? And so he's looking high and he's looking low. And when he finds this pearl, he sees it for what it is. This pearl is greater than any pearl I have, than all the other pearls in my collection. And what does he do? He gets rid of all those other pearls. He sells everything just to get this one pearl. Whoa, he was searching. And his searching found its end when he found the most valuable pearl of all. It's wonderful. But what's really cool about these stories, what's like pretty awesome, is that Jesus isn't saying, yeah, you're going to find treasure that's really cool and you're going to want to buy it. Jesus in this moment is very clear. It's a mic drop moment. Jesus says, this is what the kingdom of heaven is like. It's something hidden to be stumbled upon. It's something to search. And when you find it, it's worth giving up absolutely everything for, because it is the most valuable, precious treasure. It's the most beautiful thing that you could ever see, that you could ever know. That it is worth a joyful response, not like, oh, I have to do it. I probably should do that. My mum told me to. No, with joy. Give up everything for the kingdom of heaven. For those of you who are taking notes, this is a main point alert, okay? Jesus is worth your whole life. The kingdom of heaven is worth your whole life. It's worth everything. It's so precious. It's so wonderful. It's worth absolutely everything. Everything? Like, really, like everything. You mean like everything? Like, what does that mean? You mean like my whole life? Like all of my decisions and my plans and everything I'm dreaming about and that boy over there or girl over there? You mean like everything? I'm not sure. Everything. I became a Christian when I was 19. I was from a totally non-Christian family. I wouldn't have been sitting where you were sitting as a teenager, but I'm so glad that you're here. I wish I had been here. This is awesome. I'm so glad that you're getting an opportunity to know Jesus way before I ever did. But I became a Christian when I was 19. I was at a crisis point in my life. I'd had my heart broken. I was in a long-term relationship that they broke up with me, and I was heartbroken. And then, at the same part of that year, I had a friend die really suddenly. And young people aren't meant to die, are they? And he was really young. And I didn't know what to do with that. So I was heartbroken. I was grieving. I was at the lowest of lows. And my friend that died, he was actually a Christian. And before he died, he was completely at peace. And I thought that was crazy. Like, before he died, his mum said that he was trying to get his mum to see what he was seeing because he was seeing like something of a glimpse of heaven. And before he died, he even smiled, like he was ready to go because he knew exactly where he was going and the one he was going to be with. And I was like, what? Because I knew that if I was in his position, I would be absolutely terrified. Nothing scared me more than death. From the age of 7 to that time at 19, I would wake up quite frequently, most weeks, and I'd have a night every week where I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd think, one day there's going to be nothing, there's going to be black that surrounds me and I'm going to die and there will be absolutely nothing. I was terrified of death. So when I heard about my friend approaching death in this way, Christianity went from a worldview to be debated, something that I'd sort of fight Christians on, or I just saw like, yeah, you're raised in a Christian home, they tell you what to do, you follow it, and then that's what being a Christian is. It went from that in my mind to something a lot more mysterious. I was like, wait, you can know God? Like, God can actually change things in your life and in death? Well, I don't know if it's true, but I kind of want it to be. Like, I kind of want it to be true. And if you can really know God, I want to know him. And so in my lowest of lows, just by myself, I was waiting for a train. I decided to pray for the first time. Sort of like what Femi was saying in his interview. And I said, God, Jesus, if you're real, help me. I want to break in my heartbreak. I want to break in this grief. I just want to feel joy. And in that moment, I felt this rush of joy. It was crazy. And I tried to convince myself that I'd made it up. I was like, no way, I've just made this up. But I knew that I hadn't, because it was different to any emotion I'd ever experienced. It wasn't just happiness, which I'd experienced. It was this deep sense of like, I'm known, I'm loved. Like, what? I've never experienced this before. So just in that moment, waiting for the train, I said, okay, that's enough to convince me I think God's real, which is pretty wild looking back on it. And I said, okay, I think I'm a Christian. I believe in you, Jesus. You're real. I don't know what to do now. And I was at drama school at the time, and I get into one of my hip hop classes, and I'm awful at hip hop, just as an aside, so nobody asked me to do an E. Thank you very much. And I get into one of these classes, and a girl walks across the room. She was also a student. She was only 18. And she'd been praying that morning about who to invite to church. And my face had popped into her mind. So she thought it was probably a good idea to step out in boldness and invite this girl to church. She was pretty scared, actually. And she walks up to me. She invites me to church. And of course, I say yes. She's no idea. She has absolutely no idea what's gone in my life. And I start to go to church. But the really cool thing about my story is, as I started to read the Word of God, the Bible for myself, that changed everything. I felt like the words leapt off the page and into my heart, into my soul. I was just captivated by Jesus. I couldn't get enough. I fell head over heels in love with him. That's the only way I could describe it. In fact, a few months later, one of my lecturers at drama school pulled me into a meeting and he went, "So what's happened to you then?" And I was like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean, what's happened to me? Who have you fallen in love with? And I was like, oh yeah, I have actually fallen in love. I have fallen in love. Who are they? It's like, it's a bit weird. Drama school doesn't really have that many boundaries. If anyone asks you that at uni, who's a lecturer? But anyway, drama school's a little bit different. Who are they? And I was like, Jesus. And he was like, what? And then he thought I was bantering with him, so he had a bit of like, oh, Katherine, you're so funny, blah, blah. I was like, no, seriously, Jesus is like my boyfriend now. Don't say that. Don't applaud that. It was weird. It probably set him back a few years, knowing Jesus. Like, it was weird. But I just loved Jesus, and my lecturer could see that on me. He saw that even from the outside, something had shifted. I was just so full of joy. I just wanted everyone to know him. And there were things that as I read the Bible, I would read things and I'm like, my life doesn't look like that. I'm not doing that, or I am doing that and I shouldn't be. Oh, Jesus, I just want to follow your way. Like, it brought me such joy, because when I looked back on my life and I've been doing all the things that all the culture around and all the world around says, do this and you'll be happy. Do this and you'll be fulfilled. Follow that and try and get that, and then you'll know what life is all about. I tried all those things. I'd done all those things. I chased after all of them, and my life felt like it was in black and white. But just a few weeks of knowing Jesus, and I'd experienced more life and more love and more joy and more peace than I ever had experienced in my whole 19 years before that. So when I read things in the Bible that offended me, and they really did offend me, there were some things I read that I was like, what? That? I was like, I don't care, because I know you, Jesus, and I want to follow you. Whatever the cost, whatever that means for my life, I want to follow your way, Lord, because you're greater than anything I've ever experienced. You really are that pearl of great price, Jesus. But if I was to write you up a list now of all of the things that following Jesus had cost me, the cost to my life, the things that I stopped doing, the dreams that I had that got replaced with other things, the way my life looks now compared to maybe as a teenager when I was like, I want to do that, I want to see this, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. The things that I had to lay before God, the money that I've given, this time that I've given, the people I hang out with. Non-Christian Katherine would have gone, why? Like, why would you do, like, that doesn't sound fun. Why do you do that? That's not worth it. And when you focus on the cost does seem too great. But when you focus on the value of what you're getting, any cost is worth it. Like, for example, if I made you a cheese and ham sandwich all around, and then I said, that'll be £500, please, you'd be like, what? That's ludicrous. I'm not spending £500 on a cheese and ham sandwich. But if I said, right, I've got a mansion in central London, in Kensington. It's got a swimming pool out back. It's got a lovely driveway. I'll chuck in a few Ferraris on the side. It's got 20 bedrooms, and all of the rooms glisten in gold. Give me £500 and it's yours. You'd be like, oh my goodness, I don't have £500 now, but I'll get back to you in 10 minutes and I will give you £500. I'll do anything to get that, because you know the value of what you're getting is far greater than the price I've asked for. It's the same. It's the same with following Jesus. Now, we live in a consumer society, right? I don't know if you know that. We live in a massively consumeristic society. And because of the culture that we're immersed in, often there are things that we believe and there's questions that we have drilled into our minds that aren't actually kingdom questions. Like, even as Christians, we can have questions that are more cultural questions than they are kingdom questions. And we can view our lives through a lens that actually isn't a biblical lens and is the lens of the world. And one of the ways we do that is through a consumer lens. And it leads us to ask the question, what's in it for me? I wonder whether you've ever asked that question, even just secretly in your heart. What's in it for me? So, although I don't think this is a kingdom question, I'm aware that many of you will be sat here this evening thinking, yeah, but what's in it for me? What's in it for you? What's in it for you? You're filled with the presence of God. You were created by the one who created the entire universe. And he isn't just like, meh about you. He's crazy about you. And he wants to give you an adventure for your whole life to join in with him in seeing more of his kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. That's crazy. He wants to work all things together for good in your life. And God works miracles and does crazy things where things that weren't meant to happen, happen. And you're like, what? But what's in it for you? Forget all of that for a moment. What's in it for you? The most important thing is that you get him. You get Jesus. You get friendship with Jesus, the lover of your soul, the one who knows you and loves you perfectly. The cost is worth it, even just to know and love Jesus Christ. He is so wonderful and so precious and so perfect and so near and so close and so tender. He cares about everything in your life. This week is going to be so much fun. Like, you're going to have the time of your life here. But you're also going to have weeks in your life that are horrible, that are really tough. There's going to be moments where you really doubt, where you really question, where you're like, where are you, God? And even in that place, God's promise to you, it's a promise from the Bible, is surely, surely I am with you always, in the highs and in the lows. He is with you. Guys, the cost is worth it just to be known and just to really know Jesus. And now some of you are here and you're treating, if you're honest, you're treating Jesus like a cheese and ham sandwich. You're kind of here and you're doing this stuff and you say you're a Christian because your parents have told you to do it, but there's absolutely no joy in it. I believe tonight you're going to encounter God, you're going to experience his love, have a revelation of truth to just know that you are loved by him in such a way that it won't feel like, yeah, I have to do this. But you'll have that joy like we see in that parable. With joy he went out and got rid of everything. That will be your experience. But I want to make one thing really clear. The kingdom of heaven cannot be bought, okay? And you can't earn it either. Like, it's not about you doing enough stuff. It's not about you being rich enough and sort of throwing a load of cash at God. It's not that at all. No, it's actually not anything about what you do, but everything about what Jesus has already done. Your salvation was won on the cross. It's all about what he's already done. And now I really want you to understand and hear that point, so I'm going to tell you a story, okay? Are we ready for a story? Oh, are we ready for a story? Okay. I was on holiday last month, and I was getting my nails done. And the girl, woo, to the ladies, woo, who got their nails done? Woo, okay. And I was getting my nails done. Everyone's comparing their nails now. Guys, listen. Don't look at my nails. No, do. No, don't. And I was getting my nails done. And the girl who was doing my nails was also in her 20s. So we're chatting away, we're having a great time. And she asks me a very normal small talk question, right? She says, what do you do for work? I have the most Christian job in the world. So it's always awkward when I'm in these moments. I don't work for a church, actually. I work for an organisation called the Evangelical Alliance. How do you explain that to someone who's not a Christian? It's very hard. So I have two options in this moment. I either A, lie, or B, make it really socially awkward. So of course, I decide, A, to lie. And I told her I'm a consultant. And she didn't ask any questions after that, so that was great. That was a joke for the adults, kids that don't know what a consultant is. No, of course I didn't lie to her. I told her what my job was. I completely butchered explaining it to her. But thankfully, at the end, she said, "Oh, so you're a Christian then?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm a Christian. Do you have a faith?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm a Hindu." And I was like, "Cool." And then I start praying, and I'm like, "Oh, God, give me an opportunity." Like, I would love to share my faith right now. Like, what a joy that would be on holiday, that I'd get to share the gospel. That would be so cool. Like, what a gift. Oh, come on, Holy Spirit. Like, come on, let's go. And then she asks me this question. She goes, "So you're a Christian. Does that mean you believe in karma?" And now, I was raised around all the New Age universe stuff, right? So I know what karma is, and I know that I definitely don't believe it as a Christian. But I don't just want to shut the conversation down with an outright, "No, we don't believe in that." I want to hear and understand what the question is behind her question. I want to hear her talk more about what she believes, what makes her tick. I want to get to know her to then see whether there's an opportunity to share something more about God, which wouldn't have happened if I'd just gone, "No." So I say to her, "Well, what do you mean by karma? What is that? What does that mean to you?" And she says, "Well, karma is if you do good things come into your life. And if you do bad things, then bad things happen to you." And I was like, "Oh gosh, well, what happens if you do like loads of bad things?" She's like, "Oh, if you do loads of bad things, then you don't go to heaven." "Oh, wow. Do you think you're going to heaven?" She's like, "No, I'm not going. Of course I'm not going to heaven." I'm like, "Sorry, how are you so chill by that reaction? Like, how? You know you're not going to heaven and you're like, you're laughing about that. Like, what is going on here?" Anyway, so I'm like, "So what's going to happen to you then?" She's like, "Well, you know, I'll be sort of reincarnated into one of my family members and I'll have a second go." I was like, "Oh, so do you think you're going to get in on your second go?" She's like, "No, definitely not on the second go." I'm like, "What? So what about anyone in your family? Is anyone going to heaven?" She's like, "No, no one in my family is going to heaven, definitely not." And I was like, "So who's going to heaven? Like, I'm trying to understand your worldview. I just don't understand this. Who's going to heaven?" She's like, "Well, priests and monks, but then even then, not many of them will get in, if any, because you have to live like an absolutely perfect life to get into heaven. So a lot of them won't have done that, so they probably won't get into heaven either." I was like, "But surely you know that's impossible, right? Like, to live a perfect life. Like, do you think that's possible at all?" She's like, "Yeah, I guess that is impossible." And then she goes, "Anyway, do you believe you're going to heaven?" And I was like, "Yeah, without a doubt." And she was like, "Without a doubt? How do you know without a doubt that you're going to heaven?" I was like, "Well, if it was on the basis of me doing enough good stuff, like living perfectly, I would be in exactly the same position as you, because I definitely am not perfect. I've done a lot of wrong things. Even today, I've made mistakes. I definitely wouldn't be going to heaven on that." But Christianity is actually like really good news. It's not about us being perfect, because there already is a perfect one. Like, God came to be with us in Jesus. And Jesus lived an absolutely spotless, like perfect life in a way that I couldn't, you couldn't. He did it. He lived perfectly because he was fully God, fully man, and he just lived perfectly. And yet, he was murdered. He was innocent. He lived that perfect life, and yet he was killed. And when he died, he took all of my mistakes, all of your mistakes on his shoulders, and he died. But it's not the end of the story. He then rose to life, he conquered death, and with that, he conquered all my mistakes, and he made a way for me to get to heaven. So yes, I know I'm going to heaven because I believe in Jesus and he's the only way there. And at this point, she's not looking at me anymore. She's actually started to look down. She stopped doing my nails and she's nodding. She's nodding. And I'm like, oh no, what's about to happen? And she looks up and she looks me dead in the eye and she says, no one has ever told me that before. And she didn't look too happy. So I tried to soften the moment with her. Oh yeah, it's a little bit different to what you just said. And she cut me off, thankfully, and she said, no. That's beautiful. That's so nice. That's beautiful. And so I'm sat there trying to hold back tears and not show her that I'm like freaking out. And I was like, yeah, it is beautiful. The gospel is beautiful. What Jesus has done for us is beautiful. And we can so often forget it. And we can so often skirt over it, but the gospel is beautiful. What Jesus did on that cross for you. It's beautiful. And as an aside, what an adventure. God invites you in to share the gospel wherever you go, like in ordinary moments. Just through getting your nails done. You might have an opportunity. I'm not recommending everyone gets their nails done, but in any moment, everywhere you go, God might invite you to share something about him, to speak of his name. And even if they don't respond to the gospel in that moment, and I have to be very clear, she did not give her life to Jesus in that moment. And you know why I'm not disappointed by that? Because I cannot save anybody. Only God can save. We are obedient in planting this seed. She had never heard the gospel before. She heard it for the first time in her life. And you know what I'm believing for? Another Christian to walk in to get their nails done and her go, oh yeah, I've heard that before. Tell me something more. I have the baton and I'm passing it on to the next Christian and they're passing it on to the next Christian. We go together on mission. Okay, guys? Are you in for that? Awesome. The kingdom of heaven, though, the kingdom of heaven isn't just a future reality. Like, when I die, I know that I'm going to be with Jesus. I know that I'm going to be in heaven. It is that, and that's wonderful. I'm so glad that I know that I have the assurance of faith, that I know that I'm saved, that I'm going to be in heaven. But it isn't just a future reality. The kingdom of heaven is here now. The invisible God has been made visible through Jesus. And Jesus came eating and drinking. He came telling stories of farmers and fig trees, banquets, desperate fathers, lost sheep and lost coins. He came performing many miracles. He healed many people. And when Jesus walked on earth, he announced the arrival of the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven is here. And then when Jesus ascended to heaven, oh guys, you're excited now. You're about to get very excited because it gets even better. When Jesus ascended to heaven, guess what he did? He sent his spirit to us and he filled us with his spirit. It's amazing. He filled us with his spirit. So you know what that means? We, every single one of you who's put your trust in Jesus, you are a carrier of the kingdom of heaven. And wherever you go, whatever you do, you bring the kingdom with you. When you're in school, when you're at university, when you're in the shops, when you're speaking to that person that you don't get that on that well with, you bring the kingdom of heaven. Your life, with your life, You will speak light into the darkness as you partner with God. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again, and then in his joy went and sold all he had and bought that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it. The kingdom of heaven is worth your whole life. God and his ways are so precious, are so valuable, they are worth absolutely everything you have. And now, guys, this is the serious bit, okay? So I want all ears. We're going to hold the applause for a second now, okay? I'm thankful for it. I'm glad that you are so excited by the gospel. It's wonderful. But I want to tell you there's a cost, okay? There is a cost. It's going to cost you everything, like absolutely everything. Some people are going to think you're really weird. Some people are going to mock you. There's going to be things that you believe because you believe the word of God, that when you're in school, you're going to go, no, that's not right. I don't agree with that because I'm standing firm on the word of God. There's going to be things that all of your friends are doing, all of them, that you're not going to do. Because you're like, no, I believe in Jesus Christ and I want to follow his way. There is a cost to following Jesus. So what does it look like? Just hold the applause. What does it look like? What does it look like to do what's happening in these parables? To give up absolutely everything for the kingdom of heaven. What does it look like? Well, it's simply just coming before God and saying, Jesus, have it all. Have my whole life. And then when you say that, it's reading the Bible, it's listening to preachers, it's listening to your youth leaders. And when they say things, not just going, yeah, that's nice, I'll add that into my life. Yeah, that will work for me, I'll sort of attach that on here. No, it's going, Lord, I want the Bible to read me. I want to follow your way, even if I find it offensive, even if it's costly, even if it's hard. I'm not just going to go, what sort of fits? I'm going to go, I want you to have it all. Even if that's challenging, Lord, I want it. I want you just to have it all. It means not just applauding in here when I'm like, let's go for it in mission. It means when God gives you that opportunity and you're sat in a nail salon where it's really quiet and awkward and there's other people around and you're like, oh, they're going to think I'm an absolute idiot, and you go for it still because you don't care. You just want to follow Jesus. It means that when you have that decision, when it feels like your life could go this way and that wouldn't be following God, or it could go this way and it's going to be really hard to go this way, but you know it's the right way, it's the narrow way, it's the way to life and life in all its fullness, and it's the way to Jesus. You choose that way. Even if everyone else looking on goes, why are you doing that? Why don't you just come and join in? It's not that deep. Your parents are never going to find out. You go, no. The Lord sees it all and I want to honor him because I love him. But all of that is impossible. It is impossible in your own strength. It is merely good behavior. It's merely doing the right things if you just go about it by yourself. You have to have a revelation of who Jesus is and his love. And his love. And we're going to respond in a moment, so I'm going to invite the band back up. But some of you here tonight, you're not a Christian. You're not a Christian at all. Actually, you're a little bit like that merchant. You're on a spiritual journey. You're searching high, you're searching low, you're Googling things on YouTube. Your friend invited you along to this. You're like, yeah, that sounds cool. I kind of want to know whether this Jesus stuff is real. I believe that you're going to find an end to your searching here tonight. And I'd encourage you in this time of response, I'd encourage you to just try praying like I did, to just reach out to God and say, God, if you're real, reveal yourself to me. I want to know you. I want to experience that joy, or whatever it is for you. I'm not going to be prescriptive, But I'd encourage you, come before God tonight, draw close to him and he will draw near to you. Others of you that aren't Christians, actually, you're not searching at all. You're like the other guy in the parable. You sort of came along here because someone told you that there was football, that'd be a good laugh, and you thought, why not? Might as well go along, it'd be fun to meet new teenagers. I believe that you're going to stumble upon treasure. You weren't even expecting it, but you're going to stumble upon the treasure that is the kingdom of heaven. Now, for others of you here, I feel like there's two other groups of people. First, you know that you haven't been walking the Jesus way. And when you just heard the gospel again, you were reminded the gospel is beautiful. It requires everything, and God, I want to give you my everything. In this response time, it's going to be your moment to give everything to God again, to say, I'm coming back to you, Lord. I want to experience your love and just receive that forgiveness. I know I could never earn it. I know I don't deserve it, but I want it. I want the kingdom, Lord, and I want to walk your way, have my life again. And then there's the third camp. You haven't gone anywhere. You've been faithfully serving Jesus this year. You absolutely love him. And you just want to start Newday out by saying once again, Lord, I'm all in. I'm all yours. I want you to have it all, God. And I want to go on that adventure of being bold, of making you known. Oh, God, and more than anything, I want to know your love afresh tonight. I want to know more of you tonight. So I'm going to invite you all to stand to your feet.